Okay, so let's proceed to the installation part. So we can just search IntelliJ and we can just go to this first link. Here we have these two options. We have this ultimate version and community edition. So this ultimate basically has load of features which we don't need right now, and this community edition is completely free, so we can just use this. So as my Mac is running on M1 chip, I'll be using this Apple Silicon option here. Okay, so the download has started and now I have fast forwarded the video, so it's downloaded already. So I can just install this by moving this to applications, and here I can just open the IntelliJ, and I just need to select this terms and condition and it will be downloaded. All right. Okay, so the installation is done and now we are ready to code. Okay, so our project has been created. Inside this, we have this source directory. Here we have this Kotlin package. Inside this, we will be declaring all of our Kotlin programs. So let's create one very basic Kotlin file over here. Let's name it main. We can notice that we have Kotlin icon here, and inside Kotlin all the files will be ending with this .kt extension. Okay, let's write one very basic hello world program, and inside Kotlin every program's entry point is main function, and to declare any function we need to use this keyword called fun. So let's write fun main, and this way we can create any function inside Kotlin. We need to use this keyword fun and then we can write the function name. So in this case we have declared this main function. So either we can use this icon or we can use this icon to run our project. So let's print something. Let's start with one very basic hello world program. So let's print hello. So to print something we can use this print method. Let's run this. So we can see hello is printed. If we want to print something else, let's print Android, hello Android. Let's try to run this. So we can notice that both of these values are printed in same line. If we want to use different line, we can use this function called println. So basically this will print this hello in one line, then next statement will print in another line. Let's see. So now these two values are printed in two different lines as we wanted. So for now, let's take this Android out of this print statement and declare one variable. We will come to variables next. So for now, let's declare one variable, one value with this Android. Okay. So this way we can use any value inside our print statement. We can refer them with this dollar symbol. So let's try to run our program again. Okay, now we can notice that value is accessible with the help of this dollar symbol. Okay, so now we are familiar with this print statement and how we can add some comment inside our code bases. So let's move forward and discuss about variables in Kotlin. Basically, a variable is a location where we can store some data, which is called as identifier. So in Kotlin, there are two ways to declare a variable. Either we can use var or val, and this val keyword is used to declare read-only variable. It's immutable. So if we define a variable with val keyword, let's say we define a variable x here with value 10. So we cannot update the value of x. If we try to do that, we will be getting error that we cannot reassign the value of a val. Val cannot be reassigned. But if we want to update value of our variables, we can use var keyword. Let's say we define a variable y and we want to update the value of our variable, so we can do that like y, or if we want to perform any mathematical operation here, we can do that. So if we want to update value of our variables, we can use var. If we want to define something constant, we can use val. These keywords will behave similar in string declaration as well. If we define some string here, name, and we write Harry, and we want to update this name to Harry Potter, so we cannot do that. We will be getting the error that val cannot be reassigned. But if we want to update this name or our variable, so we can use var keyword here. If I define var name equal to Harry, so we can update the name later on. We can update any new value inside the name or our variable, and we can print this, so it will update our latest updated value. So if we try to run this, let's see. So we can see that it is printing our updated value. That means if we want to use anything which we want to update later on in future after some calculation, we can use where as our variable keyword. And if we want to declare something as final, we can use val. Okay, now that we know that how we can define some variable inside our Kotlin programs, now it's time to learn more about types. In Kotlin, there is one very big change that in Kotlin, everything is a object. There is no concept of primitive data types. Like in Java, we used to have these kind of things, right? Int x equal to 2 or something like that, float. All those things are not there inside Kotlin. We have object. Okay, let's explore how we can define any number or a string or any other kind of literal in Kotlin. So to start with, let's create an integer variable. So let's start with using val keyword. We can name the variable as x, and with this colon, we can define the type we want to use for this variable, int. Okay, and we can assign the value here. So this way we are defining specifically that this x will be of type integer and the value will be 20. This is the assignment operator. We are just assigning the value x equal to 20 here. So this is for integer literal. Okay, if you want to define a long variable in Kotlin, we can use this val y type of long equal to 1, 2, 3, 4. So we need to add one suffix L for long type of variable. To define double or decimal variables, we have type double inside Kotlin. So we can just write double. We can just write 5.6 or some value, decimal value. We can also define float inside Kotlin. We can just write float 3.4 and we need to write f as suffix. If we don't write this, we can see that it is showing error that we need to specifically mention f for floating points. So like this, we can define float. Okay, and we also have one boolean type. So if we want to define anything, we can just write here boolean, and either it can be false or it can be true. So like this, we can define the variables inside Kotlin. So sometimes we can come in a condition where we are having different types of variable, and maybe we want to convert one variable to another type of variable. And in Kotlin, we cannot do that automatically. Inside Kotlin, we need to explicitly convert. And how we can do that? We can do that with the help of member functions. So for example, here we are having x of integer type and y of double type. So if we want to convert this x to string type, we can just do this x dot to string. So this is a member function. With the help of this, we can convert x to string type. If we want to convert this x to double type, we can also do this with the help of this member function x dot to double. Similarly, if we want to convert this y, which is of double type, into a string, we can just do y dot to string. Like this, we can convert one type of variable to any another type of variables. So up to this point, we are declaring that explicit type for all the variables, like x is of integer type, y is of double type. But you will be very happy to hear this, that Kotlin compiler has this extraordinary functionality to detect the type for any variable based on the value we assign. So we no need to define this explicit definition. We can remove this as well. And if we check, then Kotlin can tell us that, okay, this x is of integer type and this y is of double type. So let's try to define one more variable over here, where z, and assign this a boolean variable, and let's see if Kotlin detect this as well. Yes. So this is called type inference, and not all programming languages has this functionality, but Kotlin has, and this is key component of Kotlin because we no need to explicitly tell that this variable is of integer type. Kotlin compiler can automatically detect based on its given value, and this is pretty awesome. So guys, like any other programming language, inside Kotlin also we have a string, and basically we use strings to define a combination of character. We can either use val or var to create any string. For now, let's create using val, and let's give a name to this string, Avenger, and assign our favorite superhero value here. So this way we define a string in Kotlin. So each string class has multiple properties. We can use those properties like this. Maybe inside println, we can print this length of this string. So we can just take Avenger dot length. So it will print the length for this string like this length. We have multiple other properties. We can do something like this get zeroth index, and here we can use the indexing operator as well. It will give us the same value, the first element of this string. So if we try to run this, it will give us I. Let's define one more string here and let's add name as this and define some value. All right, so now we have these two string here. So if we want to combine these two strings, we can define one another variable result, and we can either do this Avenger plus quotation and we can print this. Either we can use string templates, and how we can do that, we can remove this and we can form one string template using this inverted commas, and we can write some message here and we can use this value here with the help of this dollar symbol Avenger. We can use this another string over here with the dollar symbol, and let's try to print this. So this way we can form any string templates. And guys, inside Kotlin, we also have multi-line string. Suppose we have one large sentence, for example, let's declare one. We can use this three double quotations like this. And between this, we can write a large amount of data. We will see that entire string is getting printed here. So let's move forward and talk about one new concept called pairs and triples. So inside Kotlin, pair and triples are very interesting class. These class are predefined in Kotlin, and we can use these class to store and return multiple variables at a time. Let's see how we can do that. So one example can be a student name. There can be first name or last name. So we can define a pair there, student details, and we can use this pair class. And in this example, let's store student's first name and last name inside this pair. So this pair can take two values. Either it can be of same type or it can be of different type as well. We will use here a string for both first and last name. Okay, and we can define the values here. We can declare the name values here. First name, let's declare Ron, and second name Weasley. Now we can see that we are not bound to define these types here specifically, because Kotlin compiler will take care of it. So we can remove this. So now this is the student details. We have declared a pair, and how we can use this, we can just take println, and here we can use this student details dot first. This first will print Ron, and if we want the second name, similarly we can write another print statement here dot second. Let's try to run this. You can see that both of these values are printed. This is an example of same type of values inside a pair. Both values are string here. Let's take another example of pair with different variable types. Odd number, pair of string and integer type, and we can define here odd one. Like this, we can also define of even number one pair. Okay, and let's directly define this time even two. Okay, similarly we can print this with odd number dot first or second. We can just use this. So this is how pair works. We can store and access two values at the same time, and if we want to access three values at the same time, we can use triple. It is kind of similar, but only difference is here we will be having three values. So for example, we define one triples date. Okay, so a date can have a day, month, and a year. So we can define all three values at the same time. It can be of any type, either same or different. So we can either use a string, okay, for all these three. Okay, we can define the values here, maybe day, month, and year. Okay, and let's define one value for this date value triple. So we can define dates value here, 7 Jan 2000, or any date here we can define. So we have two triples here. In one triple, we are just defining what values we are going to have, day value, month, and year. And here in the second value triple, we have all the values for these. So we can print these things like this, date dot first equal to, we can take another template over here, date value dot first. Okay, like this we can print all of these things. print ln another template to print date dot second equal to date value dot second, and third one we can also have similar string template date dot third date value dot third. Let's try to print this and see the output of these triples. So we can say that day 7, month Jan, and year 2000. All right. So this way we can use triples inside Kotlin. So guys, next we have one special kind of class in Kotlin which is called any. So any is kind of parent type for all other types, be it integer or string or double. Any is the parent for all of these types. And if we go to the declaration, here as well we can see that any is the root of Kotlin class hierarchy. So there are different classes in Kotlin. Either it can be integer or double or float. Everyone has a parent which is called any. So if you check, we have declared every kind of value like integer or string or float or boolean, and we have declared it as any. So it clears that any is the parent for all kind of types, and we can assign every possible value inside Kotlin to any object. Next we have unit type. This is also one special type which Kotlin has, and it is exactly similar to void type in Java. That means if we have a function which does not return anything, we can specify unit as the return type there. Suppose we have one very basic function addition, and inside this we have one variable result, and it just add two numbers. So this is one function. It's just doing one very normal operation. It is just adding two numbers and just printing the result. But this function is not returning anything. So we can also specify here unit. So if we are adding unit here, so we can see that this is similar to the void type where we does not return anything. And if we see here, Kotlin compiler will also tell us that this is redundant. We can delete this. This way, every function which does not have any specific return type automatically has a return type which is called unit. And as this is redundant, we no need to write this. Next, we are going to cover conditional statements. So like our real life, in coding also, we will be having scenarios where we want to execute some piece of code based on one specific condition. If that condition is true, then we would love to execute some piece of code. So for that, we have different kind of conditional expression in Kotlin. Let's start with if expression. So for that, let's declare one variable x with value 10 maybe, and let's write one if expression to check whether this number is greater than 0 or not. So for that, we can declare one if expression like this. If x is greater than 0, then we can print some statement over here, number is greater than 0. Okay, this is one very basic if expression. Let's try to run the program. Okay, we can see that this condition is executed, if condition, and this statement is printed. Sometimes if this condition is not satisfied, then this if block will not execute. At that time, we will be getting callback inside else. Let's add one print statement here as well. Number is not greater than 0. So if we are having any negative integer, for example -10, so we should be getting callback inside else callback. Let's try to run the program. Yeah, so this time our else block is executed. This way we can declare a normal if else expression inside Kotlin. And one important thing to note here is inside Kotlin we don't have ternary operator. This if else expression can return us some output as well, which behave exactly like ternary operator based on this condition over here. So we can use this if else expression to receive some output based on this defined condition as well. To get a output from this if else expression, we can just add one variable result like this. We can store that output inside our result variable. So for that, let's consider one another example. Let's say we have one variable number which is having value 4, and we want to check whether this number is an odd number or an even number. So we can add one if else expression like this, number modulus 2 equal to 0. Then this is one condition which will return as a even number. So we can just return one string over here, even. And inside else block, if this condition is not fulfilled, that means the number is a odd number, we can just pass odd as the output. Now we can see that we have one expression if else expression, and inside this, in both condition blocks, we are returning one string as the output. We can store this output in a variable called result, or any name we can give here. And now we can use this variable anywhere we want. Let's write one print statement number, and we can refer to this number as well. Let's print result as well here, and let's try to run the program. Okay, so it is printing number 4 is even. So this time our output is coming from this if block. Now let's change this number and try to run our program again. Number 5 is odd. So this time we can see that result is coming as odd. So this is coming from this else block. This way, if else expression can return us some output based on the condition we define in it. In this if else expression, we are just having two condition block. One is this if and another one is this else condition block. Sometimes we can have multiple conditions as well. For that we can use if else expression ladder. So let's consider one more example over here. Suppose we are going to a new place and we want to purchase some clothes based on that city's temperature. So let's declare one variable temperature over here and assign 20 degrees for now. And let's define one variable clothes to buy, and we will receive the result from an if else expression here. Let's add some conditions. If temperature is greater than 0 and temperature is less than equal to 10. So one thing to notice here is we are using bitwise AND operator. This means that if both of these conditions are true, then only this if expression will return true. So inside this, let's return some output that if temperature is greater than 0 and less than equal to 10. So maybe we can purchase some winter coats. Let's add one another condition. If temperature is greater than 10 and temperature is less than equal to 20. So maybe we can purchase some jackets. And let's add one another condition. If temperature is greater than 20 and temperature is less than equal to 30. So maybe we can purchase some shirts. Else, in all other condition when temperature is greater than 30, we can just purchase some t-shirts. Okay, so this is one expression which is having multiple if else conditions and returning some output based on respective conditions, which is stored in this variable clothes to buy. Now we can use this variable wherever we want. So let's use one print statement and write you need to purchase and refer to this clothes output which we received from this if else expression over here, and try to run our program. Okay, it is saying that you need to purchase jackets because we are having temperature value right now 20. So it's coming in this condition, like if temperature is greater than 10 and equal to 20. That's why we are getting this output. Let's increase the temperature a little bit, maybe 34, and try to run our program again. Okay, so this is coming inside else condition now, and we are receiving the correct output. You need to purchase t-shirts. So this way we can use multiple if else conditions in Kotlin, but this does not look very clear, right? Yes, I agree with you. And inside Kotlin, we have one very specific thing which is called when expression for these kind of scenarios. When we have multiple conditions, we can use when expression. So let's refactor this code and I will show you how we can enhance this using when expression. So let's write one when expression. Here we can write when curly braces, and we can take these conditions here and we can add the respective outputs. Okay, we can take another condition, this, and we can add the respective output as well, and we can also add another conditions and their respective output as well. Let's take this last else condition also with the respective output. Okay, now let's delete this. So this is the when expression which is having all of our conditions and it is returning us some respective output. Let's store this output in a variable clothes to buy. Okay, now the output of this when block for the respective condition will store inside this variable. So as of now we have this temperature value as 34 So it should come inside this else block. Let's try to run our program. Yes, we can see that output is printing you need to purchase t-shirts, which is coming from here. This result is coming from here else block from the when expression. Now we can also enhance this when expression furthermore. So as you can notice that all of our condition is having this temperature variable. So we can use this variable. Let's copy this and add directly here. Okay. Now inside Kotlin we have one very beautiful concept called range. So here if you notice carefully, we are having the condition which is telling temperature should be greater than 0 and should be less than 10, right? Like it should be between 0 to 10. So inside Kotlin we can write something like this. Let's comment this first. Let's try to write this condition with range. So we are already having when block with the value like when temperature. We just need to write in. Initial value is 0, 0, dot dot. This is called range operator and we can add the last value 10. Okay, so this is basically how we define a range in Kotlin. This is saying that when temperature is in between this 0 and 10, which is exactly this condition but more clean. This is saying that when temperature is between in 0 to 10. So here we can define the respective output. We can delete this. Let's write another two conditions as well. So next condition, this one is having value should be between 10 to 20. So we can define in 10, 20 and we can add the respective output. For last condition, we have in 20 to 30, like temperature should be 20 to 30. And this is the output, and the rest else part is similar in when expression here as well. So this way we can define range with when expression. This is just saying that when temperature is in this range, this will be the output. If temperature is in this range, this will be the output, and so on. If we try to target this range, like temperature should be between 20 to 30, let's use 25 for now. Our output should be this. Let's try to run our program. Yes, so we can see that it is saying you need to purchase shirts because temperature is 25 and it is coming between this range. So this way we can use when expression inside Kotlin, and this is very helpful when we have multiple conditions. So guys, in last example we have covered about this beautiful concept called range, and if you notice this expression, so you can just identify that this is a range declared with the help of these two dots. So basically these two dots indicate that this range is a closed range. Okay, this is called closed range and it includes all the numbers between this initial value and the last value. That means numbers from 0 to 5. All the numbers are included inside this closed range. So if you see any range declared anywhere with these two dots, that means that is called a closed range. Inside Kotlin, there is one another type of range which is called half open range. Let's declare one. Let's name this counts and write 0 until 5. The only difference between this closed range and half open range declaration is here we just replace these two dots with this until keyword. Okay. To declare a half open range, we need to use until keyword, and this half open means the range will start from this 0 initial value only and it will increase as well, but it will not include the last defined value. That means it will only have the output of these digits. That means 0, it will increase, but it will not include the final value. That means 0 to 4. Guys, now let's talk about null safety concept in Kotlin. Let's create one file, Nullable types. So guys, in many programming language, one of very common exception is called null pointer exception. And in Java as well, we used to refer this null pointer exception as $1 billion problem, because in Java anything can be null. There are no restriction. Any integer or string you define, in mid of a program you can assign null value to that variable, and later on somewhere if you are assigning a check on that variable, or maybe you are explicitly calling to that variable, and in mid you have assigned somewhere null value to that variable. So that will throw a null pointer exception and it will crash your program. And in this part of the video, I will explain you how Kotlin is null safe and how we can reduce the chances to get this null pointer exception. Let's start from very beginning. In this concept, we know that we can either use var or we can also use var to define any variables, right? Till now, we are defining every variable with the values. If we go to any previous variable example, we was having some numbers like variable x equal to 10, y equal to 6. We was already having some valid value assigned. But there can be conditions when we want to assign no value or maybe null. That means suppose we are having a number. Let's declare one variable first where x of type integer and assign with value 10, for example. So this statement is saying we have one variable x of type integer and we have one respective value. Now, suppose we want to assign null to this x variable. So we can do this by x equal to null. So if we check, Kotlin compiler is saying that null cannot be assigned to this variable. Why null cannot be assigned? Because this is not a nullable variable and we cannot assign null simply. Like in Kotlin, you cannot just go and assign null to any variable. For that, we need to explicitly make that variable as a nullable type. This means all the variables by default are non-nullable type. But in Kotlin, there is one another type of variable which is called nullable type. And this nullable type can accept the respective type of values as well as it can also accept null value. So to allow null inside a variable, we can just declare a variable as a nullable type. And to declare nullable, we just need to add this question mark after this variable type here. And then if we try to assign null value to this variable, it will accept that value. See, right now we have added this x variable as nullable type by adding this question mark and then we can assign null. If we don't use this question mark, that means this is a non-nullable type. That time we cannot assign null. That's why it was giving us some error. So if we want to assign null value to any variable, we just need to make that variable type as nullable type like this. Same thing will happen in other type of variables as well. Let's define one string variable for now and assign any value, maybe a fruit name. Okay, here we are assigning one respective value to this string variable. We are not assigning a null value. That means this is a non-nullable variable. So as this is a non-nullable variable, we can simply access all of this variable's member function, maybe like length or any other operation we can directly perform on it. Let's consider one string example of nullable type. Let's define one nullable variable. We have added this question mark. That means this fruit variable is of a string type, but this can have null value as well. So let's assign some fruit name for now. And now if we try to access member functions of this variable, so we can notice we cannot directly access the length. So if we try to access the property of this nullable variable, this is showing that this is not safe and there are some compilation error which is saying that we need to add some safe calls. So if we try to run this, let's see, it is showing us the same error which is shown here at the compilation time as well, that only safe calls or no null assertions are allowed here on a nullable variable. So to add a safe call, we need to use the operator question mark dot like this. So guys, after adding this question mark dot operator, we can access all the properties from this variable, and if we try to run this, now it will run properly. Now we can see that both lengths are printed over here. Now we can assign null as well to this variable, and after assigning null, if we try to print the length of this variable, let's comment this first and run our program. So now it is not giving us length, but it is not crashing and it is printing null. That means if we have assigned the value of the variable null in between of any calculation or something, so if we use this safe null check, then it will not lead to any program crash. It will just print null value at that place. Okay, let's comment all of this for now. Let's take another example. Let's define one variable car of string type and make it nullable variable by adding this question mark symbol over here and then assign null value by default. And we know that if we want to add one if else check on this variable, so we used to do something like this: if car is not equal to null, then print car name over here and refer to that variable car, else we can just print car name is null, right? This way we used to add a normal if else condition to check if the variable is null or not. In Java also we used to do something like this. In C language also we used to do like this. But in Kotlin, using safe calls and some other ways, we have different ways how we can achieve the same functionality. So one way to do this is Elvis operator. So Elvis operator has two expression, one on left side and one on right side. And if the expression at the left side is true, that means it will return the value from left side. Else, if the value at the right hand side is true, then it will return that right side value. So we can write this above example using this Elvis operator. Elvis operator is basically a combination of this question mark and colon. So this is our traditional approach to add one condition, like if a variable is not null, then do something else, do something else. So to write this above expression using Elvis operator, we just need to add one print statement. Inside this, we are just checking like car is not null, then print car name, else print car name is null. So what we can do here is we can just take reference to this car variable. Then we can add this Elvis operator using question mark colon this, and then we can add whatever the default value we need to pass. So maybe for now, let's pass null only. So this will do the same thing which this expression is doing. Comment this and try to run this. So program has been executed and this Elvis operator is returning this right hand side value because this left side is null. And that's why the right hand side value is printed over here. In mid, let's assign one value to this nullable variable. Maybe assign something OD. And let's try to execute the program again. So if you notice, this time when variable is having one valid value and the left hand side value is printed. Let's take another example how we can use and utilize the benefits of the Elvis operator. So let's declare one variable of string type name and make it nullable using this question mark and assign some name, maybe Ron, and let's try to print the length of this name variable. So this is a nullable type, but right now the value is assigned. But suppose in your program somewhere mistakenly you assign null value to this variable. So for safety check and to avoid null pointer exception, we can do something like this: safety check colon length. So right now we have a value, that's why it will print properly. But for example, let's make this name equal to null as well. So this will print as null. Let's try to run this. This is printing length as null, but for example, we want to keep records like either there is some valid length or there is length as 0. So we can add Elvis operator here as well, like this. So it will print the default 0 value in this case. This way we can use a Elvis operator to provide some default value in case the values are null or maybe some other conditions are not executing at the left hand side. Guys, next let's cover a little bit about arrays in Kotlin. So let's create one file, arrays. So like any other programming language, in Kotlin also we have arrays, and we use array to store multiple values of a single type. Like if we want to store multiple string values, we can create a string array. And suppose we want to store multiple integer values, we can create an integer array as well. So let's start by creating one very basic integer array. So first we can just define a variable, maybe numbers, and then we can use this function array of, and here we can pass the elements like this. All the integer elements we want to add, we can just define here. We can also specify explicitly here the type of this array like integer, but that's not required because compiler will automatically detect based on the values we define in it. This way we can define one integer array. Suppose we want to access this first element of this array, so we can just use one print statement and inside this array name number, and we can refer to the index, first index, and always array index start from 0th element. We can pass here 0th index and we can try to run the program and we can see that first element is printed. If we want to check out the size of this array, we can just reference array name dot size. It will print the size for this array 6. So there are 6 elements, that's why it's returning its size as 6. So in order to update the value of any element in this array, first of all we need to take reference of that. Let's say we want to update this first element and we want to put the value 10 here. So we know that this is at 0th index. So first of all just take reference of it like this numbers 0, and now we can assign some new value here, and then we are already printing it here. Print number 0, it is printing 1 after updating the value. Let's again print this 0th element. Okay, let's run our program. So first value is coming directly from the array, which is coming as 1 at 0th index. Then we have updated the value of 0th index by assigning 10 to it, and then after updating the value, when we try to print the 0th index variable, it is printing the updated value. This way we can update the values inside a array. We can also apply some condition on this array. Suppose we want to check that maybe some particular element is present inside this array or not. So we can add one if else check like if numbers dot contains, and we can pass here some element, maybe 4. We can print something like element is present in array, else we can add element is not present. Let's delete these things for now and now run our program. So it is saying that okay, yes, element 4 is there, actually is an array. So it's saying element is present in array. Similarly, we can also define string arrays. Let's define one of our favorite superheroes and we can write something like array of, and then we can add some values, maybe Iron Man and then Spidey, Hulk, something like this. Same way we can also define other variable type arrays like a float array or some other double array. So this way we define normal arrays inside Kotlin for any specific given type. And let me show you one another very interesting kind of array where we can define any type of variable. So we just need to define mix array, or we can give any name to this variable. We can define one array of, we can assign one variable any here. As we have learned, any can take any kind of variable inside Kotlin. So we can assign here any kind of variable, one integer, another one is string, one more maybe float, and maybe one double as well. So all kind of variable it is having. This is a mix array. We can define one mix element array using this any keyword, as we have already learned the any type of variable inside previous sections of video. Okay, so now that we have different type of arrays and we know how we can define an array, so we would like to loop through array elements, and to loop through array elements we can use for loop. So let's start learning little bit about loops. So in Kotlin, basically for loop we can use to loop through either range or array or any array list or any other kind of collection. For now, we will use for loop with array. So let's write a for loop for this integer array. So we can just use like this 4, and this numbers array contains all the numbers. So we can just write any variable here like digit maybe, and we need to use in operator, and then we need to pass the name of this array. So we can just copy this and paste here. What basically we did over here is We can rename this to any value. We can also use X here. So as this array is containing all the digits, so for better convention, we can just write digit here. And then inside this, we can print digit. Okay, let's try to run this. Our project has been executed and it's printing all of these digits which was present in this array. Okay, let's remove this for now. Now let me explain you. So we have one array numbers. It contains all the digit. Then we are writing one for loop on this array. So we can use maybe most use variable I as well here for I in numbers and print I. That means it is saying for any variable which is coming out of this array, just print that variable. Let's comment this and let's use one string array. So to apply a for loop on this string array, we just need to write for and one variable hero in operator and then our array name like this, and then this hero element will give us the value for all of this value inside this string array, and then we can print our hero value inside our for loop. Let's try to run this. So this way we are able to print all of our elements from this string array as well. Now that we know that how we can apply for loop on arrays, either it can be an integer or a string array, we can also apply for loop inside range. In our previous example we have covered range. So we have two range. One is closed range which is having numbers 0.5. so let's apply one for loop and let's try to see if we are actually getting this output. So let's write one for loop over here. So these are numbers. So let's write one for loop digit. We can basically give any name here and then our in operator and then our range digit in numbers, and then we can just print the digit over here. Let's try to run this. We can see that it's printing 0 to 5 all the output which I was mentioning over here in our previous examples. Okay, let's comment this and add one for loop inside this half open range. So here also, as all these things are digit, we can refer any variable. Let's use X for now and then in operator and our range name, and here we can just try to print X. Let's try to run this. So as we already knew that it will run one value before with this help of until operator, so this for loop is also printing the same output over here. This way we can use for loop either with our range or we can use for loop with our arrays like this. Guys, now let's move towards object oriented programming inside Kotlin. So we will start with a concept called classes. Basically everything in Kotlin is associated with either class or an object. Till now we was making all this program in Kotlin files. If you see, there is no class declaration in any of these files, only functions are there. So to define a class in Kotlin, we can right click on this and we can choose new Kotlin class and make sure you select this class over here. And let's name this as main class. So this is our basic class, and class declaration consists few things. First of all, it contains the class keyword, and then it consists the class name. Whatever the name we want to give our class, we can add here. And then there are some common practices that we need to start the class name with the capital letter itself, and then we can specify the class body inside this parenthesis. So there are three things: class keyword, class name, and then class body. Okay, now that we know how we can declare a basic class, let's create one more class, or let's rename this class. To rename any class or any file inside Kotlin, we can just right click. We can come here on refactor, rename, and let's say we are defining a class laptop. This way we can rename any class inside Kotlin. So now we have one very basic Kotlin class and we have renamed this class to laptop, and all the variables which we will declare inside this class will be called its property. So let's think what properties a laptop can have. So definitely a laptop will be having a particular brand. So we can define one string variable brand and we can specify a string to it. Maybe for now let's assign empty value. We will assign this later. A laptop will definitely have some RAM. We can also assign one integer value for this RAM, and we can assign some default value, maybe 1 GB or something. And then any laptop will also have one year in which it will be built. So let's define build year, one string here as well, and assign default empty value. This way we can define one normal Kotlin class and its property. So all these variables which we have declared inside this laptop class only belong to this class called its properties. Now to access or assign some values to this property, we have two ways. Either we can create an object of this class or we can use parameters. So let's try to create an object of this class first. So now we have one class. Let's access this inside any file. So let's create one new file and let's name it example. So this is one file. Inside this we can by default create our main function, and we know that main is the entry point for any program. So inside this let's create one object of laptop class. So to do that we can just use any variable. We can name it as anything. Let's use laptop name for now and assign with the laptop class this formation. This way we have created one object of our laptop class. So now if you want to access all of these properties of this laptop class, we can simply use any print statement, and here we can just write laptop brand, and then we can refer to our laptop object dot brand. Like this we can access this class property using its object, and then we can print other thing as well. Laptop RAM, we can use here RAM, and then laptop build year, and we can access build year like this. Let's try to run this. So it will print all the default values for now. Our program has been executed and it's printing the default value which we have assigned here at the time of laptop class creation. We can either assign some values here using this laptop object like this laptop dot brand, and let's say maybe our brand is Apple. We can also assign other properties values like this, maybe 16, and then laptop dot build year, maybe 2022. And now if we try to run this, we will see that updated values are printed over here. So this way we can create a class object, we can assign the values to it, and then we can use those updated value from that updated class object like this. So guys, this is our class and we was using one object of it inside this example file. So let's open inside right side editor like this. So we can also have this main function directly inside this class, and to create main function we just need to write main and hit enter. It will automatically create one default main function. So for now let's take this entire code and paste inside our class and comment here in this file and close this. Now we have one class and we know how we can create its object. Next important concept is parameters inside our class, how we can add parameters and how we can assign the parameters value inside the object. So to add some parameters in a class, we just need to come here after class name and we need to add this formation. Inside this, we can add any parameter, and this is called primary constructor of the class. Here, let's assign this brand value as a parameter. So we can just take this, we can assign any name. So we are assigning brand value, and this is a string type parameter, and then we can just assign this directly in place of default value. And now if you notice, this object creation is showing us some error that there are no value for this parameter which we added recently. So we can take this brand value, we can add here directly, or there is one another clean way. We can just refer parameter name and then we can assign the value, and then we can delete this manually assignment, and then we can try to run this. It will give us the same output. This way we can use the parameters. So let's add the parameters for these two variables as well. So for RAM we can add one integer value type parameters, and then for build year we can directly add year of string type as a parameter, and we can assign here as well by default RAM value parameter and here year value parameter. Now in the object creation we can add RAM value parameter and we can assign this value 16, and then for year parameter we can assign this string value over here in the object creation itself. No need to assign manually any value. We are directly passing in the object creation itself, and it will take care of all the manual assignment. We can try to run our program and we will see the same output printed over here. This way, a class can have multiple parameters, and then when we create an object of that respective class, we can pass the parameters value like this. Next important concept is Kotlin functions, how we can define some functions inside Kotlin programming language. Basically, a function is just a piece of code which will only execute whenever we call that function, and there are different kind of functions inside Kotlin. There are something called predefined function, like this println. This is also a function, and println is a predefined function. If we go to the documentation of it, this is using this fun keyword which is used to define a function inside Kotlin. In short, we can say that functions can take some data which is called parameters, where we can pass some data inside a function, and then we can perform certain actions or certain operations on that data, and then either we can return some data from a function, or we can just simply perform some operation or execute some piece of code using some functions. Now let's create one new function inside this laptop class. Let's minimize this for now. We can create our own functions as well. So to declare a function, we can just use this fun keyword, and using this we can create our own function. So this is a laptop class. Let's write a function which will provide the basic value of this laptop class property. So let's give any name. We can always choose to start a function name with a smaller case letters. So let's write provide information. We can give any name to our function. It makes sense, like if we give names related to that function's capability, what it's going to perform in the future, and then we can add curly braces. So a function is having these things: one fun keyword, then that function name, then its empty constructor, and then its body. So this is one very basic function syntax. It has one fun keyword, then function name, and then we have this empty constructor. Here we can pass some parameters for this function. We will cover that later. And then we have this function body. So if you notice, we was having one laptop object, then we was printing all of these things. So what we can do is we can just write some print statement here like this, and we can directly refer these values inside this print statement. Okay, we can add one more print statement. Our function is running. So this is one normal function inside this laptop class. Now we can delete all of these things from here. This is our main function. Here we have created one laptop object. We are passing all the values for its parameters, and then we can refer to that function using this laptop object variable, and then dot, and we can call this function provide information. Then we can just try to run our program. Okay, so we can see that this custom function which we just wrote is running. It's printing first, our function is running, and then whatever the data we have provided from our laptop object creation, it's printing all of those things using our custom function implementation. This way we can create normal functions inside Kotlin. Let's create one more class. Let's name it calculator, one very basic Kotlin class. And first of all, let's define some variable here where x, and by default value is 0, and then there is one another variable by, which is also having 0 value. Then there is one variable result. So let's write few function over here, addition. Okay, and inside this we can just add this x plus y, and then we can assign this inside result value like this. Now let's write one main function, and from this main function, let's say we want to perform some addition over here. So first of all, inside this, let's create one calculator object like this, calculator. Now if you want to pass the variable here, either we need to assign the parameter here, which we already learned how we can assign class parameters. We just need to write this x integer and by integer, and then we can assign the values here directly like this. So this way we already learned like how we can pass parameter inside a class object, but this time we will directly pass the parameters inside function. So let's revert this for now. And now we want to perform some addition from this main function. We can just use this calculator dot addition. Alright. So this time let's pass some variable directly from here. So to do that, we can also add parameters inside our function. So for that, let's delete these default variables, and here we can add some variable, maybe like x of integer type, another parameter y of integer type. So this way we can add some parameters inside a function. Let's comment this function for now. From calculator object reference, we need to pass here some value for these variables. So now we need to pass some value for these parameters. So let's say we pass 1, and for y also we pass 1. Now the values will come here, it will perform its basic operation, and then let's print one string showing x and y addition is, and then we will refer to this result. Okay, so let's run our program. So it's saying that 1 and 1 addition is 2, which is correct. So suppose we want to not have this result as a local variable and we want to return this as the output of this function. So first of all, let's delete this local variable, and then inside this we can create one local variable. Local variables means which is coming inside this function scope itself, where this parenthesis ends. This variable result will not be accessible outside. If you write here result, you will not be able to access that. That is called local variable. So now we have one local variable which is containing the result of this addition. Let's delete this. Now we want to provide some output from this function. So we need to check that what kind of variable will this result contain. So this will contain one integer because x and y both are integer. So addition will also be integer. So this return type we can specify here after this function's declaration. We can specify with colon, and we can specify the result type integer. Then we can return this using this return keyword, return result. This way we can return some output from our functions. Now this function is returning us some integer, this addition. So this will return us some output. So we can store that output inside a variable as well, maybe output. Okay, and then we can print some output here as well. Maybe output is refer to the output variable, and let's run our program. Okay, so we can see that now our function is returning us some output. Remove this. So if you notice, there is some warning that this result variable is just used to store this addition, which we can directly return as well. So to return directly the addition, we can just remove this variable, and we can directly add return, and we can remove this statement as well. This will also return the same thing. If we change some value here 10 and maybe y11 after performing the addition, it will return us the output. So this way we can add some parameters inside our function, and we can return some output from our functions, and we can just use that returned output anywhere we like. Next, let's cover about inheritance in Kotlin. So inside Kotlin, it is possible that we can inherit either some properties of a class or maybe some methods from one class into another class. Let me create one very basic example to explain you this. Let's create one class and just name it fruit maybe. And every fruit class can have some properties. Every fruit will have one name, and it will also has some color, and it will also have some unique taste. Okay, so this is our very basic Kotlin class fruit, which has few properties. Okay, let's add one function to provide this fruit information, and inside this function let's print all of its property fruit information. So in a nutshell, Kotlin inheritance allow us to reuse this code and these variables and this function. Okay, so you will be wondering that why we created this new class. So I am trying to explain you that we can reuse these properties, we can reuse this function of this existing class when we create a new class. How we can do that? So now let's create one new class to implement the inheritance concept. So we can implement one class, maybe Apple. So now we have these two class. Let's open this as well inside side window. So Apple can has all of these property. Apple will also has a name, a color, and a taste, right? So instead of writing this code again inside Apple class, what we can do, we can just extend this class inside our Apple class. And extending or inheriting means we can just reuse these properties or maybe the function inside this class. So the entire inheritance concept is divided into two categories. One is subclass and one is superclass. So superclass is the parent class which will be inherited, okay, and the child class or subclass is the class which will inherit the parent class. So this child class will inherit this parent class. Now it is showing us some error that this class is by default final, so it cannot be inherited, right? Every class in Kotlin is by default a final class, and final class means you cannot extend those classes. Those classes are final and all the properties and methods of those classes are final. You cannot inherit anything. In Kotlin, we use this open keyword to make a class non-final. And once you make a class non-final, then you can extend or inherit that class. If someone asks you how you can inherit a class in Kotlin, so simplest answer is just add this open keyword and then that class will become non-final. Then we can simply extend that class using this colon keyword. So to summarize, to implement inheritance concept, what you need to do? First, you need to define a parent class which will have all the base properties or some function, and then we will make that class as non-final by appending this open keyword. Then inside our child class, we can just use this colon keyword and then we can use that parent class name like this. This way you can extend or inherit a parent class inside a child class. So now let's say you have one apple. So apple also has these properties, right? It has a name, it has a color, it has a taste, right? So you no need to write all these properties here. You can just create a main function basically like this, and inside this you can simply create a apple object like we learned earlier. Like this we can create a class object inside Kotlin. Then you can directly access these properties like apple dot, these are the properties we have, right? Name, you can assign here something like apple, then you can assign some color to it, maybe red, then you can assign some taste, sweet, something like this, and then you can simply call this function as well from the parent class. You can just do apple dot provide fruit information like this, okay, and then you can run our program and you can see that we have the log printed with the value we have assigned in the child class, but all of these properties and this function are from the parent class. So this way we can reuse the code which we have already written inside our parent class inside child classes. Suppose tomorrow you create one another fruit class, then grape is also a fruit. So this will also have these properties. So here also you can simply just use this colon keyword. Then inside this main function or anywhere wherever you like, you can simply create one grape class object, and then after creating the object, you can simply access these properties from the parent class and assign some respective value. And then you can simply print this information using this parent class function. And you can simply call by using this grapes class object, grapes dot provide fruit information. And you can run your program. So it will print the output for this grape class. And if you notice, we have not written any properties or any function inside this child classes. All the properties and functions which we are using here are coming from our parent class. So this way inheritance helps us via code reusability, and we just need to extend our parent class and we can simply access its member functions and properties. So till now we have covered about classes, objects and function. In Kotlin there is another very important concept called interfaces. So if you notice, this is our function, it has some body, right? But in interface we can just define this function syntax and its name, and then later on we can implement its functionality based on our requirement. So to create an interface we need to go over here main Kotlin and we need to select this new, then Kotlin, and over here in this dialog we need to choose this interface option and we can give any name here. Let's give my calculator for now. We can declare a interface using this interface keyword followed by the name we want to give for that interface. So we have used this interface keyword, then we have given our name, like my calculator is our interface name. So this interface can have functions and properties. We don't need to define any body for functions. So let's declare some function here. With fun keyword, we can declare any function, addition, like this. Then maybe it can have some other function like division, etc., like this. So this way we can define some function, and you can notice that we are just mentioning fun keyword, then function name, empty constructor, and there is no body like this we used to do, right? We are not defining any body over here, and later on we can use this based on our requirement. So this way we define an interface, and let's see how we can use an interface. So for that, let's create one class, calc example, calculator example. Basically, let's open this in the right side. Okay, so if you notice, I have one interface, and we have declared this interface with the help of this interface keyword, and we have added two functions inside this. This function does not has any declaration as of now. So to implement this interface inside our class, we can just use this colon keyword, and then we can add the name of this interface like this. The moment we implement this interface, so we can see that it is showing us some error. It is saying that some abstract members are not implemented. So to do that, we can just hit this option enter in Mac, and in Windows alt enter, like this. It will show us this dialog saying implement members. So we can just click on this, and then it will show us that these two members functions are there inside the interface. If you want to select both, just select these both and then click OK. Then it will implement those functions inside our class. It is showing us some to do statement because we can implement our custom implementation over here. Okay, so this way we declare one interface like this. We add some basic functions or properties, whatever we want to add over here. Then inside our class, we can use this colon, and then we can give the interface name, and then we can override the methods whatever we have defined inside the calculator. Suppose if we add one another function over here, multiply, so it will again show us the error that one function is not implemented inside the class, one abstract function is missing. To do that, we can again do this option enter or maybe alt enter inside Windows based on your operating system, and we can click on this implement members. Then we can see that the newest function which we recently added, it is showing up here. We can click on OK, and this is also implemented, and now that error is gone. Now here inside this we can just implement anything we want. Either we can take some object or we can add some print statement. It's based on our convenience what we want to do over here. This is the concept of interface. Like we can define one interface, then we can override the methods of this using this implementation colon keyword and the interface name inside our class. Class can implement more than one interfaces as well. It can implement multiple interfaces. So for example, let's declare one more interface. Same way, we can select this interface and try creating one another interface. Inside this, we can add some another random function, random, and maybe it takes some parameters. For example, let's say x of integer type, y of integer type. To implement multiple interfaces, we can just add one comma here because we have already added this colon keyword, then our first interface, then comma, and then we can add our second interface as well, which is another interface like this, and then we can override the method for this interface as well like this. This way a class can implement multiple interfaces, and then we can override all the member function of these interfaces, and we can add the respective declaration based on our requirements. So guys, if you notice till now, if we are having one class, then we need to create one object of that class like this, and then we can access any properties or any function inside that class, right? We need to create one object of that class first. So in Kotlin, there is one concept called Singleton class as well. So inside Kotlin, let's create one Singleton class, and to do that, just create one normal Kotlin class first and name it my Singleton. We can give any name. So this is our class, and suppose it has some variable and a function. So the normal process to access any of these property from this class is once we created the object, we can access all of these things, the property and the variable function. So to make any class singleton, we just need to remove this class variable from here and we need to add object keyword. So this will make it as a singleton class inside Kotlin. The object keyword refers to the singleton class inside Kotlin, and then we no need to create any object. We can directly use this class name like this, singleton class name, and this way we can access the variable property and the function. So that's how we implement a singleton class using object keyword, and this way we can access the variable and properties. Next, let's cover about collections inside Kotlin. So let's close this and create one file, collections in Kotlin, and let's add one main function. Okay, inside collection we have different things, like we have list, we have set, we have array list, and so on. So let's start going through with the list collection for now. So to define a list collection inside Kotlin, we can use any variable like var or val maybe. So let's take val for now, and let's say we are defining a numbers list. Okay, so we can write numbers list, and then we can write list of. Here we can specify the variable type, so it can be either integer, it can be either string, then we can add anything like this and so on. And we no need to explicitly mention the list type as well, we can remove this. So this is a normal list of integer type. We can define a list of string and other variable types as well like this. Now inside collections, the basic functionality is we can either add or remove some elements, but there are two concepts, there are two different type of list. One is normal type of list, which we have defined just now. This is immutable, we cannot add anything inside this. So if we try to add anything inside this list, we will not be able to access this add method, because this list is by default immutable. We cannot do any addition or updation once the list is declared. So let's remove this and let's declare one mutable list where we can update our collection. Let's give a name updatable numbers list. And to declare a mutable list, we just need to use this mutable list of concept, and we are not defining explicitly anything. And then we can take the same digits or any digits we would like to add, and we can add inside this list. So this is a normal list and this cannot be updated. And if we want to update the collection, then we need to use this mutable list of declaration. And now if you try to do this updatable number list dot add, then we can add the new element. We can add 8, maybe we can add another one, 9. We can also add the element at the specific index. So if you want to add something at 0th element, and maybe we want to add 0 element at the 0th index here at the start, so we can do something like this. We can give index value and then we can give element value like this. We can access all the member function of these collection list like this, updatable number list dot size. It will print its size. And if we want to print all the numbers of this list, either we can use this for loop like digit in updatable number list, and then we can print ln digit like this, right? This is the older implementation which we learned already, for loop. We can also use for each loop, and for that we can just take the name of this list collection and then we can add this dot operator. Then we can write for each like this. Okay, so this will also give us all the variables and we can just refer to this it statement. So this is called a lambda inside Kotlin, these two curly braces, and you can see here like it is returning us something called it, which is an integer type, and it refers to all of these digits inside this collection. So if we try to run our program, first it will print this list size, then it will print all of these elements. So let's run our program. So we can see that first it is printing the size, then at the 0th index it has inserted this 0 element as well. Then it is printing 0, 1, 2, 3 until last element it is printing, because we have also added these two elements manually. Alright, that was today's video guys. I hope I shared something valuable today. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.